Nyck De Vries found a new seat? Nyck De Vries had a dream F1 debut after being called up to Williams to replace the unwell Alex Albon at the last minute in Monza. He raced better than Williams' regular driver Nicholas Latifi. The former Formula E and Formula 2 world champion will be a prominent contender for various vacant driver seats for the upcoming racing season. Which team would he join? Do you want to find out? Then stay tuned. Nyck De Vries, who is a former karting world champion, was initially recruited by the McLaren team in 2010 to become a member of the team's junior group. Since then, he has gone on to win multiple titles in the sport. But despite winning several major championships on his way up the racing ladder, including Formula Renault Euro Cup in 2014 and Formula 2 in 2019, no opportunities opened up for him in F1, and he left the McLaren program at the end of that F2 campaign. After signing on with the Mercedes program, he transitioned to Formula E and went on to win the championship in the 2020-2021 season. After being taken under the wing of the German automobile manufacturer Mercedes, De Vries has served this season as a reserve driver for both Mercedes and its customer teams. Mercedes has been quite helpful to him in securing a number of Friday practice runs as he works toward his goal of having a full-time racing seat in 2023. At the Spanish Grand Prix, he competed in the Williams, and in France, he took over for Lewis Hamilton at the wheel of the Mercedes. The weekend of the Italian Grand Prix was one Nyck De Vries would have always longed for, but could never have planned for. The Dutchman, of course, would not have wished illness on Alex Albon, whose absence due to appendicitis gave De Vries the opportunity to step in the car. However, having the chance to do something and doing it really well are two very separate things to consider. During the course of the weekend, De Vries raced for Aston Martin in the first practice session and then made his Formula 1 debut for Williams, earning 2 important points for the lower-placed teams. In contrast to the vast majority of prior debuts that we have seen in F1, this one was unique. Why? This was because he had a short and impromptu notice. Most times, a driver has time to get ready, or at the very least, get acquainted with the vehicle they will be operating, but a little more than 90 minutes notice was given to De Vries before the final practice. Even though he drove the Williams in Spain and the Mercedes in France, moving from one car to another in a short amount of time is not an easy assignment, particularly in an environment where there is a lot of pressure. This was the factor that contributed to George Russell's debut outing for Mercedes in the year 2020 being such an impressive one. De Vries demonstrated the same degree of versatility and, most importantly, speed. How impressive was he in his first appearance? In all honesty, he breezed through all challenges during his F1 debut. Although Nicholas Latifi is likely the worst driver on the grid, De Vries would have done well to get within a tenth of a second or two of the Canadian in qualifying and finish in a position comparable to Latifi's. This would have been considered a satisfactory performance. After only 21 circuits of final practice, De Vries had already closed the gap to within a tenth of a second of Latifi. He advanced to Q2, whereas Latifi did not. Because of various grid penalties, he was able to move up to the 8th place. Before the safety car was called at Monza, he led his teammate by a full 17 seconds and 6 positions in the standings. Despite the fact that this provided additional evidence that Latifi does not merit a position in Formula 1, it also showed that De Vries does. It was expected that he would make a few minor errors during practice and qualification, and he did. But still, he had an outstanding performance in Monza. Reflecting on the weekend, which marked his full Grand Prix debut after a handful of practice outings, De Vries said, "The whole experience from yesterday until now has just been a dream. Jumping in a car on the driver's parade and seeing all the excitement for Formula 1, getting the opportunity to race, starting in the top 10, executing a good race, scoring points on debut, being called driver of the day, it's been amazing." Toto Wolff, the head of the Mercedes Formula 1 team, is one man who was not surprised by the eye-catching performance De Vries delivered. When asked about the performance, Wolff said, "I think, what else should he do in terms of performance than what he has shown today? No training. He jumped in a car that he hadn't driven, straight into FP3. Yeah, it showed what he's capable of doing." After the race, the stewards called De Vries to question him about driving erratically during the late duration of the safety car, but he was only reprimanded and was allowed to keep his impressive points finish. Rarely do opportunities present themselves in Formula One. After competing in Formula E, winning that championship in 2021, and the World Endurance Championship, in addition to winning Formula 2 in 2019, De Vries needed to turn his career around for good. Age isn't on his side. Esteban Ocon, Charles Leclerc, Pierre Gasly, Albon, Russell, and Max Verstappen are all younger than De Vries, who is 27 years old. It seems that his long-awaited chance of proving himself in F1 is finally here. But which team will he drive for? According to the current situation, Alfa Romeo, Alpine, AlphaTauri, Haas, and Williams all have open places for the following season. It would be the most obvious and, in many respects, the most practical choice for him to succeed Latifi as Williams' center back. There is little doubt that Latifi is living on borrowed time at this point, and a combination between De Vries and Albon would give the team a much better chance of realizing the car's full potential. Since De Vries is also under contract with Mercedes and he is racing for Williams, a team that uses Mercedes power units, is beneficial to both Mercedes and Williams. It seems likely that Guan Yu Zhao has accomplished enough to be retained by Alfa Romeo, which means there is a low probability of seeing De Vries at Alfa Romeo next year. What about AlphaTauri? AlphaTauri is also unlikely to occur. It now appears that the race will be between the incumbent, Pierre Gasly, and IndyCar driver Colton Herta. However, this outcome depends on Herta being awarded an FIA Super license. There is a possibility that Yuki Tsunoda has improved to the point where he should be allowed to continue, but after De Vries' performance in Italy, there is a possibility that AlphaTauri might change their mind. Alpine are still looking for someone to take Fernando Alonso's seat on their team. In fact, reports suggest that Alpine intends to test De Vries within the next few weeks. Nevertheless, he will face competition from drivers such as Nico Hülkenberg and Jack Doohan, who are both now leading contenders in F2 competition. Alpine is a more appealing alternative in terms of performance, but choosing them might require withdrawing from the Mercedes program. De Vries may not want to sever those relationships quite so swiftly, given that Lewis Hamilton is now 37 years old and entering the twilight of his career. Haas is another possibility. The team might decide to move on without the underperforming Mick Schumacher. Despite having an outstanding track record, including a title in Formula 2 and the World Championship in Formula E, De Vries has never been given an opportunity to compete at the highest level of motorsport. It's unfortunate for De Vries because the winners of the championships in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2020, and 2021 all got a chance to race in Formula One. Due to the fact that he had such a successful start, it is almost certain that De Vries will be given a place in the Formula One Championship next season. If there is one certain thing, it is that the timing of De Vries' drive could not have been any better. If he did not now fill one of the vacant seats for the upcoming season, it would come as a surprise and would be an injustice. Which team do you think De Vries will drive for in 2023 F1? Let us know in the comments section below. That'll be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos just like this. See you in the next video. Bye!